Welcome to How to Save Your Marriage with Nicola Beer, a full show of tips and practical strategies to repair, rebuild, and strengthen your relationship. If you are currently stuck, wondering if your marriage can be saved, or you know you want to save it but don't know how to go about changing it, this show is for you. To book your free marriage strategy session with Nicola, get the free marriage ebook or donate. If you are enjoying the show and want to help keep it flowing, visit www.nicolabeer.com.
Hi and welcome, so happy you're here. I'm going to be talking today about in-law and family interference in relationships. How to navigate this, how to manage this, and how to make sure that it doesn't come between you and ruin your bond. I've had many people come to me on the brink saying that their relationship is on the rocks because of their family interference, or believing that their husband or wife is too close to their family members or doing too much for them, taking on too much responsibility, that their parent or parents are too reliant on them. And this can obviously come between a couple, and hopefully after listening to this you're going to get a few tips and get an understanding of what you can control, what maybe you can't control, and how to create some positive changes. I'll start by sharing with you 2 case studies because I feel like it's easier to share what I mean in that way. Names changed, of course, to protect their identity, and both of the couples have said that I can share their story as long as I change the names. So the first couple I'll introduce you to is Lisa and Kareem. So Lisa and Kareem came to me because they were arguing over Kareem's relationship with his mother. Lisa explained that Kareem was what others would consider a mummy's boy, who would drop everything, including family responsibilities, for his mum. Kareem has a tendency to involve his mum in everything and chooses to ask his mum's opinion for things that Lisa believes should be between husband and wife. For example, when they were choosing their new family home, Kareem would film the potential houses and then send them to his mum for feedback before discussing it with Lisa. Even on a holiday, as soon as they arrived to their destination, Kareem created videos for his mum to see where they were and what it was like. Lisa said that she nearly had a breakdown walking along the beach their first few hours of their holiday, and Kareem was showing his mum how beautiful and how romantic this beautiful beach was, which killed the passion, respect and romance for Lisa. Lisa also believed that Kareem's mum was very manipulative because she was always playing the victim, and since the death of her husband, Kareem had become her husband and father, not a son, Lisa felt. Kareem's mum behaves in a way where she makes the family feel guilty for moving on in life, and if Kareem doesn't drop everything to help his mum, she gets upset and she uses emotional blackmail to get Kareem to do what she wants to do, regardless of how Lisa feels or what the children may need, because they have 3 children. Kareem's mum seems to live her life through her sons, and she doesn't see how her involvement and demands impact Lisa and Kareem's relationship, or maybe she does. And this is, of course, all Lisa's point of view. So that is how Lisa saw Kareem's mum. Kareem agreed that it was difficult to keep his mum happy. He agreed that, yes, sometimes he does go to rescue his mum, and he understands that Lisa and his children need him as well. However, he sees his mum as giving up everything for him when he was a child. He wants to be there for his mum. He sees it as his responsibility to be there for her financially, emotionally, and if that means he needs to leave Lisa and the 3 children to be with his mum, if his mum needs him and fly to see her because she doesn't live in the same country, that's what he'll do, and he has done. He also believes that he should allow his mum to stay with them for as long as she wants. So it means that his mum comes and visits for months at a time. And he sees that as, again, his duty. What Lisa finds really difficult is that when his mum does stay for months at a time, Kareem and the mother stay up and watch television together, whilst Lisa is alone and goes to bed alone. As a result of the mum's influence, Lisa and Kareem found themselves arguing a lot more, spending more and more time apart. Their emotional and physical intimacy had diminished, and they both felt disrespected. Lisa had zero sexual desire and was only there for the children. And of course, I helped many women and many men to increase their libido. However, in this case, clearly there needed to be changes in the whole dynamics with the parental involvement first. Because if not managed well, as you can see from this example, it can divide a couple. In some other cases, it's not the parent that is relying on the son or the daughter and wanting to be more involved in the relationship. It can also be the partner who is very attached to their parents and that they need and seek their approval and opinion on everything. This was the case for Darren and Emma that I helped. They'd been together for 3 years and married for 1 year when I met them. And Darren knew how close Emma was to her family, but he only began to realise the real extent of Emma's reliance on her family when they moved in together after their wedding. Whenever there were important decisions to be made as a couple, or for Emma to make in her career and life, Emma preferred to call her dad and ask for his advice. Initially, Darren was okay with this, he's very easygoing, but when it began to affect their decisions that they wanted to make as a couple, it was beginning to irritate and annoy Darren and made him feel insignificant. For example, Emma was offered a position in a new company, and instead of talking it through with Darren, she turned to her dad first. She called her dad several times on the subject before interviewing with the company. Her dad researched it with her, and she shared the offer with him first for his opinion and suggestions. By the time Emma discussed it with Darren, she had more or less made up her mind and was merely informing him of her discussion with her dad. This also happened when things went wrong in the house and DIY needed to be done. Emma would call her dad and ask her dad how to fix things, what to buy or what to do. Darren felt undermined and not seen as a man. He wanted them to make decisions together, and if they needed a second opinion or some advice, that they discussed it together first and then asked for help together, so they were more of a team. Darren also became annoyed at how much information Emma shared with her parents. She shared everything, what they were eating, what Darren was saying, what he was doing, where he was going, and this really freaked Darren out. He was particularly worried about what this would mean for the future when they had children. Emma's parents had already joked several times that they would be there all the time for their grandchildren and that they wouldn't be able to leave them alone as they love children. They also asked probing, intimate questions about their intimacy, and Emma hinted that she would discuss the school choices with her dad. So Darren wanted to delay having a family until Emma could see his point of view and make changes, to stop sharing every detail of their lives with her parents and to start to create more of what Darren called partnership, making decisions alone together. And that's why they came to me. Emma was angry. She felt that Darren was punishing her by holding back on the family plans and being controlling. The tension between them was high. So we outlined some actions that they could take to become closer and a plan for joint decision making. Emma was to make Darren the first person to discuss things with, then her dad. Darren was to work on his confidence and to not see Emma's parents as a threat to him, instead to embrace their kindness and interest. Emma wanted him to make more of an effort to see the good in her parents. Thankfully, things changed very quickly for them, and they agreed that if it continued to be as good as it was after they started putting together the actions to become closer and the new way of interacting with the parents, then they will start trying for a family within 6 months. When working with couples like Lisa, Kareem, Darren and Emma, I go through a range of steps to help them see each other's point of view and to work together as a team to find the right level of compromise. It's also very important to understand parents' needs. In most cases, parents just want to feel important. They want to feel needed. They want to share their wisdom. They want to benefit you, support you. And I discuss how you can give the parents that feeling that they are wanted and needed and important without compromising the relationship. And this is quite common actually in the expat world that I live in, because as an expat living in an expat country, many of the couples that I support have their parents live with them for 3 months at a time, 8 months, a year, even longer. And I also work with couples that permanently live with the in-laws and how that can impact the relationship. So there definitely needs to be a focus on the relationship first if distance has been created by family interference. So really the first step in supporting a couple is to make sure that their connection is really strong. I always go through my top 25 needs in a relationship and I ask each to pick their top 8. What makes you feel loved, connected and supported? What is important to you in a relationship so you feel seen and heard and respected? And then we look at how to make that happen with daily actions and weekly actions. Because if the couple are stronger, they're less likely to get offended by the in-laws or by other family members' interference. The second is to understand their ideals, their dreams and expectations when it comes to staying close with their family. How do they want the wider family to be included in their life? This is something that is really important for couples to do, so I highly recommend you do this step as well, even if no issues have cropped up between you. Having both partners express how much involvement they would like to have their family to have in their day-to-day life is great to understand where you're both coming from. For example, some people I've supported want to have dinner with their parents once a week and for their spouse and children to join them. And that may be too much for some people. And they may want, okay, let's do your parents one week, my parents another week. We can't go to both parents every week. That would be too much. What about our family? Others are fine with it. Others want to go to church or to the mosque or the synagogue with their parents weekly. And they see that sharing the religion with their parents and their grandchildren is a key thing that needs to happen. Some people expect that religious holidays, public holidays, summer holidays will be with the extended family. Outlining the expectations can avoid conflict and misunderstandings in the future. And it's useful to express what you feel is healthy and what you feel is too much. And sometimes family interference or family conflict can come up where opinions are given on how to parent and what to eat and what to cook and what to do. So you'll need to discuss whether this is acceptable to you or not acceptable to you and how you can have each other's back. One of the 25 needs that I mentioned is having each other's back. And for some people, having each other's back comes up with the family. So having that united front, sticking up for one another, agreeing on these things. Another really important thing to agree on and to outline your expectations with is friends and family visiting. I mentioned friends there because this can also cause conflict between couples. I had one couple last week where the husband was having 3 to 5 different friends coming to stay for 2 weeks at a time. And it was draining on the couple because they were always entertaining and the wife felt like there was no date nights for the couple. And yet when friends visited, they were out every night entertaining them with dinners and she wanted a closer relationship. So how long is acceptable for you for family to visit? And it's so good to make sure that you agree before saying yes.